Good afternoon again, this is Chef Reis. Welcome back. What I'm doing this afternoon, I'm doing an apple strudel. Apple strudel could be done a few different ways. Could be 3 different or 4 different doughs. I'm just using the easier one, the American way, which is puff pastry dough. But you can use puff pastry dough, you can use phyllo dough, or you can use the authentic German strudel dough, which is pretty much flour and butter, which is a little harder to work with. It's very elastic and it's harder to roll, and it keeps, it doesn't stretch very well. But the simple one to do is the puff pastry dough. Puff pastry dough is available in a lot of stores, so it's very easy to get. So I'm gonna go through the steps. I'm gonna show you the ingredients that goes in it, and we'll go from there. The ingredients that we're gonna need are pretty much very simple for me to say, easy for me to say. I'm gonna start off with some brown sugar, some raisins. I got an egg for the egg wash at the top. I'm using Granny Smith apples. I was always good at using Red Delicious apples, but somebody used to bust my chops all the time for using Red Delicious apples, but I'm gonna use Granny Smith. I got some chopped walnuts, some butter. In the background, I got some cornstarch, some flour. I thought I had some almond flour. If you have some almond flour, I'll give it a completely different flavor inside. So almond flour would be very good. Of course, I got my puff pastry dough, and I got some sugar in the raw that I'm gonna sprinkle on the top. Like I said, I got the butter. So these are the ingredients that I'm gonna use. Like I said, I got some lemon juice in there, and these are the ingredients that I'm gonna use. So we're gonna start. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to peel apples. So I'm gonna take a paring knife, and I'm gonna go all the way around the apple. And I'm gonna peel the apples. I am the best apple peeler anywhere, except the best paring knife. So I got all the peel apple all the way around. See, pretty much here. You got the whole thing in one piece. I'm breaking it down. That's pretty amazing. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm going to wedge the apple. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it in half again, so there's 2 quarters. I'm going to take the core out. Core out of 4 quarters. And I'm just going to take the apples and slice them. I'm going to slice them. I slap each quarter. Take each quarter and slice them into 3 or 4 pieces. Pretty much a simple way to do it. The apples. It's not like an apple pie, so you got to cut them a little bit smaller than your typical apple pie. If you want to dice them, you can even dice them. You can, do them any way you want to, but I like them sliced in half. Like I said, I'm using Granny Smith apples instead of, you can use any other apples that you prefer. Granny Smith, a much heartier apple for apple pie or apple crisp for something that you're going to bake with. So pretty much I got all the apples wedged. This is pretty much the end result. Into the apples, I'm going to throw some cinnamon, which I forgot to tell you earlier. I like cinnamon in my, so I'm going to throw the cinnamon in there. I'm going to throw about a cup of brown sugar. I'm going to throw a little bit of flour in there, like maybe 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to throw about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm going to throw some chopped walnuts in there. Okay, and I'm going to throw some juice of lemon. And what that does, it gives some tartness, it takes some of the sweetness away. At the same time, keeps, if we're going to hold on a little bit for the apples, it's going to keep the apples a little bit not turning color that quick. So I got all that ingredients. I'm gonna mix all those ingredients right now, and this is pretty much what they look like. I'm going to toss them together right now, and then I'll come back in a second. And then I throw a little bit of whole butter in it. Probably throw me going to butter, maybe about quarter of the stick. And I'm gonna mix all that up. Okay, so what I got in here, I got all the apples, sliced apples, the raisins, walnuts, brown sugar. You can use a light brown sugar or dark brown sugar, some butter, you know, chunks of butter. Did I say anything in there? And like, of course, some cinnamon and some lemon juice. So those are all the ingredients that I have in here right now. And all those are gonna marinate for a little bit. I'm gonna roll out the dough. And meanwhile, I'm gonna turn the oven on to about 375 degrees. So that's what I'm gonna bake it on. Meanwhile, what I did, I threw some flour in the counter. I put the puff pastry dough down, and I'm gonna roll it out a little bit. I wanna thin it down a little bit. As you can see, I'm gonna go both ways till it's thinned out slightly. Okay, I don't want to do too much. So I want to make sure it's not stuck to the bottom. It isn't. So I'm going to roll out a little bit more. I'm going to try to get at least three small strudels out of here. So I got all the strudel dough cut up right now. All the dough rolled up real good. And I'm going to put the apples on it. As you see, I got the apples now. And I'm going to do is I'm going to egg wash the ends. And as you see, I'm going to fold the dough over the top. I'm going to tuck the corners, the ends in. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm going to go over the top like this. Over the top, I'm going to make sure make sure the egg wash is stuck to it. I'm going to tuck the ends in. Okay, as you see, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it in my pan over here. And I'm going to show you the next one. Okay, as I got the apples down in the dough, I'm going to take both ends and I'm going to roll the apple over. As you see, I'm going to tuck it in. I'm going to tuck the top over it. Okay, I want to make sure the egg wash is sticking. I want to take the ends and I pinch the ends. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put it in the pan. And I'll be ready to go. Okay. And it's not as, it's not that hard, but you just got to be careful so the dough doesn't fall apart when you pick it up. Okay? Okay. What I did after I put it in the pan, I egg washed it. I put some eggs in a little water and I just egg washed it with a brush. And I'm going to sprinkle with some sugar on the raw. And I'm going to make a couple of cuts on the top. So one thing that I want to do, I want to make sure that the apples are not steaming. So I'm going to make a couple of slits on the top. And I'm going to bake it in the oven for about 35 minutes at about 325. I'm going to start off at 375 and go from there. And I'm going to adjust the oven as I go along. This is the final product. This is the final product before it goes into the oven. As you can see, I got 3 slits on the top. And I'm going to bake it in the oven. And this is the final product. So I'm going to let it cool off. And when it's ready to serve, I'm just going to slice it and serve it with some nice scoop of vanilla ice cream, or just plain. And another thing that I did, I had a few apples left over. I just threw in a little casserole. I threw a streusel topping on the top and I baked it in the oven. These took about 35 to 40 minutes in the oven. I started off at 325. I got getting a little bit too brown, so I turned it down to 3 1/4. And I cooked it for about another 30 minutes. They look really good. Enjoy it, and I'll see you soon.